don't know what's going on.
All right.
Hey.
We're good. It's you got your whole face in there this time, Shane?
I have no idea. I can't see the damn thing.
It looks good. Move it a little bit to your right. There you go.
Yeah,
right there.
that's better.
Yeah, that's good. There, you're in. That's it. You're centered this time. Yeah. We had somebody say they only saw half your face on one. So,
well, hey, look, they only got it only blew out one of their eyes then, because this mug in full force, that'll knock you down. That'll knock your socks off right there.
Yeah. Well, hey, today Elad is on. How do you say your last name, Elad?
That's Elad. Elad, and my last name is Avigan.
Avigan. All right. And I know you're from Israel, and you're a veteran, and now you are living in Porto, Portugal.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how I found you, on a Porto Facebook group, and you've been giving us some advice on building up our YouTube channel. And you told me your background, and so I thought you'd be fun to have on. So this is it. Origin story. Give us the rundown. I know you're a music guy, and
I know I'm ready to talk riffs.
Yeah. So let's hear how you got from Israel to music to wrestling, and now you're in Porto with your kids, wife and kids. So let's hear it.
So it's been a long ride. I'm 42 now. I've been living in Portugal for the last 3 years. I love it here. It's very safe for us. People are nice. The weather is not that good. It's a bit cold for me, but I get used to it. So like basically ever since I was a little kid, I used to love music, and when I was about 20 years old, I used to work at a supermarket, and people like I used to be the manager for the frozen like meat stuff. So I used to go to the speaker and just announce all of the deals that we have. And people always used to compliment my voice. They told me that I have a voice that is fit for radio and commercials and stuff like that. So I decided to listen to them. And
I get it. They always tell me I got a face for radio, not a voice.
You beat me to that, Shane.
Yeah. So I decided to go and learn how to do like commercials and all that stuff, radio. Back in 2005. It's that old. And that's my cat.
No.
He's screaming. I'm sorry. So I did that. I finished a course in like narration and commercials and stuff like that.
Like voiceover.
Voiceovers, yeah, exactly.
Right, cool.
And I really wanted to get into that like field and start like to work in it. And back in the day, it was before social media, so I had to like print CDs and send them over to companies with my voice sample, so they would maybe hire me for commercials and stuff like that. And I did that for a while, and nothing worked. Like I couldn't get any job in like what I really wanted to do, because I really became passionate about doing it. And then I went to Amsterdam with my good friend. And on my way back, I sat next to a person on the plane, and we were just talking. And he was some kind of a coacher, life coacher, business coacher. I'm not really sure what he was, but something in that field. And I told him about what I wanted to do, and he told me, why don't you just go to like your American Idol? In Israel, it's called something else. It's like a star is born. And just do something crazy that people will talk about, and then maybe you'll get your foot in the door in that field. So I said, okay, I don't mind.
Reasonable.
I'm doing it.
Wow.
So, like the audition started, and I dressed up as a grandmother, like with a wig and a dress and everything,
That's
and
funny.
makeup and like everything. And I had to memorize like the audition song in order to like qualify. So I changed all the lyrics to something funny, and they loved it, and they let me pass all the auditions. And eventually, I got to the filmed audition, the one that's on TV, and that was on primetime TV in Israel, and it got me the job. Like it got me gigs in doing
cool.
voiceovers and like, so yeah, that was a good idea. And
so in America, the typical radio morning DJ, was always like, it's 5 after 5, and they ought to have this weird affect they put on. Is it like that in Israel for radio too? Do you have a radio voice?
I do. It's the same. I can demonstrate a commercial in Hebrew if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to hear one.
So let's go. מבצע מהפכני ברשת סדין סנטר. בואו עם הסדין הישן שלכם וקבלו 100 שקלים הנחה בקניית סט מצעים זוגי. כן, 100 שקלים הנחה בקניית סט מצעים זוגי. על כל הסדינים שבמבצע רק החודש, רק ברשת סדין סנטר. המבצע אינו כולל מחבטות, מגבות ונעלי בית.
So that sounds like you said every word that there's been made.
Yeah, so that's like a I don't know, a sales commercial.
Yeah.
I'm hard sale. Yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah, I got some gigs, but then it wore off, obviously, because I got my like 15 minutes of fame, and then no one remembered me. I could no longer say I'm that guy from like 2 years ago. Nobody remember, right? And I couldn't like get my name like big enough in that field to get more jobs. So of course, all of this time I was working my day-to-day job, like customer service stuff and all that. And then I discovered a website called Fiverr. Maybe you know it
all the time.
Yeah, so I'm on there as a like I do commercials, I do narration in Hebrew, everything, and I think that thing, because I got a lot of gigs of it, it fueled my how do you say? It was the thing that really got me started on pursuing working in things that make me happy, things that make me fulfilled. And even though the pay, God bless you. Even though the pay is not that good, it didn't matter to me because I was doing something that I love, and I do believe that I received like a couple of gifts in my life. I mean, like talents, and I think that if I wouldn't have used them, it would have been a waste, and it would have been something that when I reach like 80 years old, I would look back and say how stupid I was not to use the gift that I got from God or whatever is up there, because I got a couple of those, and I think that you should always do something that involves them, that uses them in some way. And I think that fulfillment is something really important, especially when you get older. So I started to do that, and then I when I was a kid, I was a big wrestling fan. So I used to really watch the WWE, WWF back then. I even went to a couple of shows like in like Canada and the US, and there were a couple of big shows happening in Israel where they brought in like some of the old timers from WWF to do a couple of gigs in Israel, and I wanted to offer myself to those promotions to do the ring announcement, like making his way down the aisle, weighing at 250 pounds, blah, 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 like this. So I really imagined myself doing that. I went to a couple of local shows in Israel, and I said, I can do better job than this guy. And I offered myself, and they accepted it. And I got to work 3 different wrestling promotions as a ring announcer, which was really cool.
That is cool.
I made no money off of it, but again, the fulfillment for me to do something that I'm passionate about, something that brought me happiness, that brought other people happiness, because basically you're putting the wrestlers over, you're building up the crowd, like to anticipate the match they're about to see.
You could come here and work in the government. Half the people in the next government came out of the WWF.
Yeah, right. And Linda McMahon is now the head
That's
of.
right. That's right.
Like, what was education? Something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Man, I really like that the fulfillment aspect of your story so far. Because man, I tell you what, like they can go back and look at my first podcast where I told my whole story. But I mean, man, I used to live in a house with no heat, no air conditioning, no, it was just barely kept the rain off of my head. But I love what I do. You know, I mean, if I still lived in that house and was still just Shane the dog trainer instead of the big company that I've built, you know, I'd still be just as happy. You know, I mean, because we're saving dogs' lives, we're helping families, we're the whole big picture. And that fulfillment is for real, and it's so hard to tell somebody that just has a 9-to-5 job, like it's hard to convince somebody to pursue those inner dreams and those passions because of the fulfillment. And don't worry, if you're fulfilled, the money will come.
Yeah, I absolutely believe it. And
what did you? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask when you served in the military, because I know that's compulsory, right, in Israel.
Yeah.
Was that like right when you were 18, or was it?
Yeah. When I was 18, and like something like that, I got my the letter that says that I have to go to the army, and of course it's obligatory in Israel. For male, for female, it has become. It wasn't like back in the day. So yeah, I served for 2 years in the IDF, and
so you
when
have
you go
to serve?
in, yeah, you have to serve.
Yeah, you have to serve.
Yeah. It's a small country, and it's surrounded by Arab countries that want to destroy us, basically. So we have to protect our people. So we do what you have to do.
Did you do? Wasn't it? Didn't you get into communications or something in the military? Right?
Yeah. That's what I was about to go.
Is that what I read? Did you pick that because of like radio and everything? Is that why you, or were you just stuck in? Did they just say this is what you're going to do?
Yeah, basically they do some kind of physical test and all kinds of tests, and they grade you according to that. So my grade was somewhere in the middle, so I couldn't go and be like up front fighting and all that. But I was somewhere in the middle, and I did want to have some kind of service that would be meaningful, both to me and both to the country. And they put me in a unit that is a special unit, and I got to work like in the communication field. I was building antennas like up in dangerous places most people don't go to, stuff like that.
Did you ever get on the walkie-talkie and be like, ladies and gentlemen, today it's going to be 5 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, it's 22 degrees, and
yeah,
practice.
We all did that.
Yeah. There's a traffic jam on the I-440.
Yeah, but you have to speak in different codes. Like we have codes for stuff. Yeah.
So how did you, from wrestling, you got into the music, right? Am I right with the bio I read, or am I skipping a step?
No, you're absolutely right. So I did the wrestling thing for about 2.5 years, and eventually I got fed up because at the same time, my first daughter was born, and going and doing like the shows every other weekend or stuff like that was too much of a burden for me at the time. And again, I wasn't getting paid for it, so it was also a money issue, because I had to pay for all the like expenses for transportation and stuff. And again, I felt as I have reached my peak in that area, so I just left it. I got back to my day-to-day job, and again, I felt the need to do something else to fulfill myself. And then in 2017, I'm sorry, I saw a guy. His name is Yuval Yosefson. He's of course Israeli as well, and he just came back from coincidentally Portugal. He was living in Gaia for a couple of
Close
months,
by.
and yeah, it's close to Porto. And when he was in Portugal, he listened to a lot of radio, and he is a big metal and rock fan. And he noticed that in Israel, there are no rock radio stations at all, not even one. Like, rock is very like off mainstream in Israel, even more than in the rest of the world. Like, rock is always like not totally mainstream, or it was at times,
Really?
but then, yeah. So in Israel, there were no stations that played rock, only rock. And he decided to start like an Israeli rock radio station. And he started a Head Start, which is like a GoFundMe kind of gather money from people in order to start. So I bought one of the like how do you say, one of those things that he offered there, which gave me 1 hour of me choosing the music and presenting it on radio, which for me was kind of like a dream come true, because I'm a big music lover, and radio was something that I always wanted to do. So like, if you ask me what's the best thing I can do with my voice, I would say radio. Like, always, it was a passion of mine. I love radio. I think this format is like some kind of magic to me. So I bought this support, and I got to host this 1 hour of my own music, and I got to pick a lot of music that is never heard of in Israeli radio, like artists that I like, I don't know, Three Doors Down or Chris Stapleton, like artists that never get played in Israeli radio.
That's
that
crazy.
I love. Yeah, they are in the United States. They sold millions of records, right? But in Israel, nobody
and they
probably
don't
heard of
play it
them.
in Israel. That's
No, not at all.
Wouldn't think that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's mind blowing. Yeah, and so after I did this 1 hour, like I felt that I got to do more. Like, I have to find a way to keep it going. So I emailed the guy and I told him, listen, I really enjoyed it. Can I get another try, or maybe I can record a pilot or anything? And he says, yes, of course, go ahead. Like, the station was really new at the time, and he had a couple of free slots in his schedule. So he told me, okay, so let's do this. Try for 1 month, record a couple of shows, and we'll see how it goes. And since then, I've been hosting like 3 or 4 different shows on different like times, all with music that I personally pick and host and get to tell people about it. And this again, it's this one thing that led to another, but all of it is something that really brings me happiness. to know that a song that I chose to play might open someone's ears to a new musician they never have heard of, or that I got to do a special about those artists that I personally love and know their entire discography, and get to tell people about their story.
So how do you get that? Wow, there is
Yeah,
an echo. How do you get it out there? How do you like, is it played on the actual radio in Israel? Is it on the internet? How do people find it, your show?
Yeah, so it's called Z-Rock Radio. It's online. It's an internetic kind of radio station. And you can listen on the website, and we are also featured in a couple of international apps, and we have our own app as well. So that's how people can listen. Of course, most of it is in Hebrew, like us speaking, but the music is from all over the world, and it brought me great joy.
I gotta send you some songs. I've never been on the radio in Israel.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even like high profile, like mega bands like Kiss or Alice Cooper. If you ask like the average Israeli, which songs by those bands do you know? They will tell you one song. They will say Alice Cooper, oh, Poison. Kiss, yeah, of course. I Wanna Rock and Roll All Night. Like aside from those songs, none of it got ever played on radio, which is crazy. So I got to play all kinds of deep cuts and rarities, and again, like doing this radio thing, it got me to do things that I never thought are even an option. Okay, so when I first started to do the radio stuff, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, he came to Israel to do a show. So I bought a ticket and I went to meet him afterwards. And I got him to do a short video like ad for the radio and say like, hi, this is Dee Snider. You're listening to Radio Z-Rock, blah, 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 with Elad Avigan, which was great. And then this like opened my appetite to do more stuff like this. So I started emailing all kinds of artists that I like, agents, managers, PR people, just to get some plugs for the station or for my own radio show. And it got me Alice Cooper to do my own show. Yeah. I have Alice Cooper recording a message promoting my show. It's crazy. Rob Alford from Judas Priest, Three Doors Down, the lead singer Brett Arnold, which also I got to interview him for a special I did on Three Doors Down. I love that band, and like I messaged him, and he says, "Why don't I go on your show and you interview me?" And I said, "Wow, you would do that?" So he did. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the amount of people that I got in contact with. If you know Filter, so Richard Patrick, the lead singer from that band, like Bush, Gavin Rossdale, the lead singer.
Damn.
Yeah, so a lot of like great artists that I used to grow up listening to in the late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of them were happy to plug the show or the station, and we got to do some really interesting things together.
How big is your listening base now?
A couple of thousands a day. We are pretty small. Again, you have to realize Israel is a small country, and rock is very like niche, side niche.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple of thousands of listeners, and we have like this small community around the radio. We have this WhatsApp group, and we have a Facebook group with like maybe 10,000 like members, and everybody is like bringing their own input, and we share the things that we like, and we discover things together. It's really nice.
That's cool.
So
How often do you do your show?
once a week. My show is called Xerox Porto.
Porto,
which is
really?
Porto, which is a kind of a play, a word play on my previous show. I used to host a show called Xerox Forte, in which I pretended that I'm some kind of music doctor, and I would play music to help people feel better and stuff like that. So when I left that show, I decided that it will be some kind of a play. So Forte and Porto. In Hebrew, it's more similar because you write it almost identical. That was a nice thing.
So how do you have a studio? You just do it in your do you just do it like where you are right now?
Yeah, I have my own
when you do your show,
microphone, and I record my shows at home, and I send it over by email, and they play it like every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Israel time, 3 o'clock Porto time.
That's a good gig right there.
The opposite. Yeah. And again, radio is something that I'm not getting paid for, but I still do it for 6.5 years because it brings me a lot of joy, and it brings me fulfillment. And when I tell my friends that, when I tell my family that, when I tell my mother all of that, they are looking at me like I'm crazy. They're telling me, Elad, but why are you doing it? You don't get paid. It's not worth your time. Why don't you get a real job?
But
I famous think words for any entrepreneur.
I think they can't. For years, my mom has been saying, why don't you get a real job? And I'm telling her, Mom, this is what I love to do. This is something that fulfills me. This is something that I think I'm meant to do, and I get like my money from other things that I do, but this is my passion, and this is something that I think I have to do. Otherwise, I would live in regret, probably.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Shane and I are desperately trying to figure out how to monetize 30 Facebook subscribers. That would be really fulfilling.
We're gonna make $9. We're gonna make $9.
Yeah, someday. Yeah. So how did you end up in Porto? I know that there is a kind of an inside track for Israelis to immigrate to Portugal. I don't know exactly how that all works, but I do know that it is a little bit easier for Israelis than it is for, say, an American like me.
Yeah.
So
I'll
do you
explain
have? Okay.
I'll explain it. First of all, like leaving Israel is something that we've been wanting to do, me and my wife, for a couple of years, even before we moved to Portugal. Because I think having children really opened our eyes into what we don't want them to live like. For example, in 2021, right after the coronavirus and all of that, there was some kind of, I would say, small war, of course, compared to the one that's now in Israel. And missiles were thrown to our city. And a missile even hit the bus that I was taking to my work every day. So it's crazy. So we had to take our daughters.
You can't just breeze by that.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we had to take our daughters like in 2 a.m. Run in. You have about 1 minute to do it. You have to run to a shelter that's beneath the building and close the door. And
oh my God,
it's crazy. And imagine doing that with 2 girls and for let's say about 1 month until this issue resolved. And it became really crazy, and we says, okay, that's not the life that we want to live. That's not the life we want to give our daughters. They deserve better. We deserve better. And so we've been boiling with this idea of moving abroad for a couple of years, and I think in 2000 my wife applied for the 2020. I mean, sorry, my wife applied for the Portuguese citizenship. Based on her roots. My wife's grandmother was Moroccan, and Moroccan Jews were expelled from Portugal like a couple of 100 years ago. So around that time, the Portugal government decided to give the Israelis that can prove their roots a chance to immigrate to Portugal. So we did that, and once we received the green light, it was late 2021, and like we literally took 1.5 months to pack our things, quit our jobs, take the girls out of their kindergartens, and come here and never look back. Which is crazy, but
Wow.
then again,
Yeah.
we are crazy. So
Yeah, that's you got to be crazy to not, in a way you have to be crazy to do that. I'm crazy. I'm ready to go. So
yeah.
what are you? Did you have jobs in Portugal when you immigrated over, or did you start over from scratch?
So when I was back in Israel before I moved, I was working 2 jobs basically. I had my day job, which was a 9 to 5, some kind of, I don't know, customer service manager, stuff like that. And then in the evenings, I would have my own business, which was the voiceovers and the video editing that I do. I'm also a video editor. So I used to make like music videos for musicians most of the time. Yeah, so when I moved to Portugal, I had to kind of reinvent myself because I didn't have a job. My wife got a job right away, and she's still in this job, which pays pretty good for Portugal, in which the salary is pretty low. But I had to do something as well, of course. So I reopened this video editing business, which I've closed before I left, just to get some customers and get things going. And then I also got into being a music curator. I have my own Spotify playlist, and I listen to music by people. They send me the music, and I have to choose if I put them in the playlist or not. So I get paid for that as well. Send me your music.
Don't worry, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
But then I saw that this thing wasn't enough. We were like barely making ends meet. I had to find something else to do because it was just not enough. So I went into an Israeli company in Gaia, which is next to Porto, as we said, a real estate agency. I have no experience in real estate, but they just wanted the Hebrew speakers to talk to their clients. And after like going all to the interviews and stuff like that, I kind of noticed that they didn't really know what to do with me. Like I was hired to do a job. I signed the contract, but they didn't really have time to teach me all the things, and I felt as I was wasting my time. And then, which is where the YouTube thing is starting, then I remembered that a couple of years back, I watched this YouTube video about how you can make money off of YouTube. And it said that if you suppose open a channel and upload videos of 10 hours of rain or 10 hours of, I don't know, ambient sounds, waves, stuff like that, you can later monetize it and get paid for the views. So I had this free time because I was paid, but I wasn't used. And eventually I left this job because I felt, okay, this is not going anywhere. I just quit it. So I started my own YouTube channel. It's called Cozy Cup Music. And in the beginning, I did upload this kind of videos, like 10 hours of waves, 4 hours of bossa nova and stuff like that. But I found it a bit boring, even for myself as a video editor, creator, and someone who is a pretty creative person, I think. I found it boring to even create, and I thought, what else can I do? So I started to make the videos more interesting. So let's say I would pick an hour of Cuban music. I started to implement all kinds of videos from Cuba and Cuban culture and all the things that are associated with Cuba, cigars and I don't know, mojito and stuff like that. So I have this video on my channel that currently has over 600,000 views, which is crazy. People watch it every day.
Yeah.
Maybe 4,000 watches per day only for that Cuban video. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I think this was the video that really made my channel blow up, because gradually I got more and more subscribers. Like even earlier this year, I had still about 300 subscribers, which is nothing. And currently I have about 7,700. So people are liking the content, and I started to mix things up and not be all about relaxing music. So I have patriotic anthems, let's say for 4th of July. And I have national anthems for Canada. I have a national anthem from Israel. I have all kinds of like things. Sometimes I try to be a bit more creative with it, just so it will be fun for me to make and maybe for people to view. Some works, some doesn't, but like basically it's working, and I got monetized in April this year, and currently I'm making a nice amount of money just from YouTube. And besides that, I also keep my video editing services for musicians and all the music curation and all that. So now it's better.
You're hustling.
Yeah.
How long did it take? How long did it take? Now, this is like a also personal. I'm curious, just personally, like how long when you started your channel and then you worked your way up to 300 subscribers, and you're like, oh yeah, 300 subscribers, and then suddenly, what, in 6 or 8 months, you went from 300 to 7,000, right?
Yeah. So it took me.
How long were you?
Yeah.
How long were you at the 100, 200, 300 mark before you caught fire?
It took me exactly 1 year since my first upload on the channel to the time I got monetized. Again, not to say that it would take anyone that amount. It could take less, it could take more, but for me it was exactly 1 year. So yeah, but the first couple of months were pretty difficult. Like when it took off quickly. So when I got to 300, it quickly went to 500, and 500 went to 7 and 1,000, and then I got monetized because you have two main credentials in order to get into the YouTube Partner program. The first one is the 1,000 subscribers. The other one is 4,000 watch hours in 365 days. So that was already sorted because I accumulated all those watch time through my videos, because some of them are very long. Some of my videos are 4 hours or even 10 hours. So a lot of people do watch that or go to sleep with it, or I'm not sure. So that was not an issue, but the subscribers, it was not easy. And currently I'm running 5 more channels besides that one. None of them are monetized yet, but I'm working on it, and I'm constantly uploading videos to all of them just to get them going, and hopefully in a couple of
Is it
years
similar
I'll be
similar
able
content, music, or is it a totally different content?
Different. Yeah, I have two channels for kids, one in English and one in Hebrew. I have another music channel, but it's about music. Not you can't listen to music. It's about music. It's more like a documentary kind of channel where I bring up interesting facts about music and musicians. So that's another one, and I am now starting my Hebrew YouTube coaching channel in which I will give the people tips on how to do YouTube, basically. Because at the moment there is no Israeli that's doing it, so I want to be the first one.
All right. Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask about that because that was how we connected again. I sent you a message. I said, "Oh yeah, well we're still," because you go online and there's a million, 10 people say do it this way, and 10 more people say don't do it this way, do it this way, and then there's 10 more that just want to scam you out of whatever little bit of money you want to throw into your venture. So you were generous enough to spend about an hour with us and show us all the areas we were not hitting the mark, even remotely. And so I think it's super helpful for somebody like me to actually speak to a human and look at the screen and ask pertinent questions that apply to exactly what I'm doing versus just playing a video and trying to glean whatever information you can off of a generic video. So it's super helpful. If anybody is seeing this, I can tell you that you're definitely like super patient in explaining things, and everything you showed us we were able to implement. And between Shane and I, we're both a couple of technological idiots, so we were able to figure it out and put it all into action, which is well, I'm hoping it's super helpful. Like you said, it still takes a few weeks to catch up with what you're doing. If you push a button on there, it doesn't mean it's an immediate change. So.
Yeah, it's not immediately, but I did check your channel after our talk, and I see that you have implemented all of the things that we said. There are still a couple of things left. We will talk about it later, but again, like I think that by now doing YouTube for almost 2 years and constantly listening to more videos about it, my wife is laughing about me. Like I go to the shower with a small speaker and I listen to how to monetize this and how to monetize that. So
hey,
I'm basically
it's working, right?
learning all the time. So I think I have gained enough experience and I know enough in order to teach people. And again, sometimes it's not always about money for me. When you ask me if you could ask me a couple of questions, I wasn't even thinking about money, and it's something that I will gladly do if it's not too time consuming. So yeah, if I can help, I would gladly do it.
I found in my life those things sometimes come around. What goes around comes around. I mean,
absolutely.
Shane found me at the bottom of page 20 million of when I first started this particular business, and he and I emailed back and forth for a long time. He had question after question, and I emailed back, and then we talked on the phone a few times and everything else. And I mean, I eventually I did charge him for something, but it was a couple of years into our relationship before I ever said, okay. He started asking more pertinent questions. I said, okay, for that part, you got to maybe come and invest a little bit into it. But we still work together, 13 years later
13
now.
years,
So it just because you don't get paid on the barrel, a few dollars for an hour of work doesn't mean that can't come back around the other way, right? So
Yeah, absolutely,
that's
and
cool.
and it's
That's cool.
something that I see
So let me ask
in
you,
my
in Porto,
life,
being a
like in
music
many
lover, I
aspects.
know you have 2
Sometimes,
small kids there.
like you
Are you
said,
getting
like a
out?
small gesture can go a long way, and I've seen it happen in my life in a couple of instances where I've been
Yeah.
kind to
Uh-oh.
someone, I've helped someone
We're
out, and then
losing
it paid
him.
me
Or
more
did
than
I
I
lose you
would have
guys?
ever
Shame.
imagined. So
I
yeah,
lost you guys.
just give. Don't think about it. I truly believe we're here to help each other out, and money is just, something we must. What happened to John? Huh, he went away.
Oh, I guess he didn't like this interview. Okay. Well,
he will probably come back. No.
yeah, I hope so. I hope so because I can't stop it from my end. I got to stop it from his end. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see if he comes back. We can always
if
chop
not,
this
then
in. We can always
yeah,
chop
we
this
can.
into the thing off.
Yeah, and when you can just say, I don't know, goodbye and stuff like that, it's okay.
Yeah, well, let's do. So make sure. Well, let's see. Actually, I can't stop the actual broadcast because he's got the control side.
Oh,
Let me see.
okay.
Hang on, because you're. Oh, there he is. I
Oh,
was about to
he's
text
coming
you.
back.
All right. Jeez, man.
He
Yeah.
came back.
All right. Crazy.
Oh, you came back.
Crazy.
What happened?
Yeah, we have.
We were just talking. We were just talking about how much you don't like this podcast.
Like, I don't like it. Yeah, right.
He said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Y'all figure it out. I don't want nothing to do with this shit."
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. We have storms over here, so I don't know if it affected my internet or what's going on. So, but I'm back now. So.
Okay.
Well, I bet it's probably a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, let me ask one question real quick. You're
Sure.
with 2 small kids there and everything. I know you love music. Have you found your way to any of the good music places out there in Porto yet?
Yeah, there are a couple of good ones. I like all kinds of music. So, like, I went to see my favorite Portuguese band. They're called Cassette Pirata. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have not.
Portuguese rock indie band.
Okay.
So I went to see them a couple of times here in Porto. They play at a small place right in front of the Coliseum, if you know.
Oh yeah. Was it the place at the top of the parking garage?
Yeah, that one.
Mouse,
that small place.
Bad Habits. Mouse Habitos.
Right.
Yeah.
Mouse Habitos.
Yeah,
something like that.
I've been there. I saw
it's nice.
I saw an Australian indie band there. It was crazy. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so that's good. And I
Do you play
is
music
also-
too, or is it just a fan?
No, I'm just a fan. I'm not a musician, but I think I'm as close as to being a musician as you can get without playing instrument, because
Gotcha.
music
I was
is
gonna say,
pretty
I
much.
didn't know if you played or not. I was going to say, when I come to Porto, we had to get together and go to a jam session.
No, but a lot of my friends are musicians. Even here in Porto, like I befriended a couple of Israeli musicians that moved here, and so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll catch up with you when I'm out there, and I'll give you a couple pointers. I love music too, so I found a lot of good live music places out there that some people know about, some people don't. So it's fun.
Nice.
A lot of cover bands. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and not only to come on the podcast. It's always interesting to hear people's stories, man, all the way from Israel to Porto, and like you're hustling it on the internet, which is amazing. And but also taking the time to help us out a little bit, try to get our content in front of some more eyeballs, which is cool. And yeah, I'm gonna hit stop here, and then when we're done, I'll catch up with you in a few, and we'll go from there. But thank you again for coming on.
Sure.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you leave
Thank
your
you.
computer open.
Yep, leave it open there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.